Hello everyone, I'm Rob and welcome to my channel, RobStoration. What we're doing here is an automotive repair and restoration channel, thus RobStoration. So what I'd like to do is share my knowledge, love, and experience about working on things and fixing them and bring them here. And what I hope to bring is, some fun and some humor in that as well. And I'll bring a lot of stories for sure. I grew up in Western New York, go Bills, and moved out here to Colorado a couple of years ago. And in Western New York, it's what you'd call a salt state. So working on a lot of vehicles and having to deal with the pain of rust, you'll hear that as a recurring trend. I think I have PTSD from having to work on so many things with that have rust on them, and the tools that you need, which we'll talk about it in either later videos or later today. The tools that you need to be able to work around rust when you're working on vehicles. So I moved out here, and I'm still stunned to this day on the vehicles that you see that are still being daily driven on the road, cars from the 80s that have long since melted into the ground back in Western New York. I still see them here on a daily. Um, what we're going to be working on here to start are vehicles that I own. Namely, one of them is my 2003 4Runner V8, so that's important. I love it. But have had to do a lot of work on it in order to keep it running, to keep it going, and to combat some of the things that salt have damaged. So that's where we're starting. But I'll work on show videos working on this, show videos working on family members' cars, things like that. So I've loved automotive things, or really anything with a motor and wheels, for as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid. From my dad getting me a go-kart to do laps around the yard, and that I could literally do that for hours on end and just be have the biggest smile on my face. So that kind of a thing, and having dirt bikes, and then getting cars as a teenager, and then my dad showing me how to work on stuff. So I'd like to say thanks to my dad for sure for teaching me a lot of my knowledge, what the base of it is, on working on things and fixing them, and how to be creative and solving problems. Not necessarily, if you don't have a part, what do? You have to be able to make it. So he taught me a lot about that. And when he wasn't around, when he was at work and I was at home in the summers, having to work on my own vehicles, I had to figure it out for myself. So getting creative. And back in the 80s and 90s, there wasn't YouTube. There wasn't all these resources to be able to figure things out. You just had to work through them. So creativity is a big part of that as well. I know there's a lot of other YouTubers out there, and honestly, they're my inspiration for what I'm looking to do here today. First and foremost, Matt Armstrong. So amazing his story of in 5 years of how far he's come along, from working in a car park, working in a parking lot of a restaurant that he was working at, from working on things like I think I said a Volkswagen Golf is where he started, to Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all sorts of amazing things, and having a workshop, and it's absolutely awesome. So Matt Armstrong, Lee, Scrap Life Garage, Sam Crack, Alex, Legit Streetcars for sure. Love watching his stories. He brings a lot of fun to it. Big smile all the time. I really appreciate his energy that he brings into the videos that the content that he's creating. The real side of the business, flying wheels, and what that looks like. I appreciate the perspective he brings, and every time I think about doing my own automotive business, it's pretty grounding watching what he goes through for sure. Freddie, absolutely, Tavarish. He's done so much for so long in the industry, and done a lot of really cool partnerships and collabs with different folks, and I loved his story as well. And it's not just the uh, automotive YouTubers. There's also, the Bearded Bike Mechanic, Two Vintage. I like watching their restorations of, motorcycles and ATVs and things like that. Anything they can get their hands on. I have, my own dirt bike, so you'll see some work on those as well. things about, ethanol gas and carburetors and what that looks like, at the beginning of a season. Um, but yeah, definitely bringing, anything with wheels, anything with a motor and wheels, pretty much. I'm good with that. So where do I want to go with this channel? Where do I see this going? Um, I'll start. I'll start with what I got. I'll start with working on my own vehicles, working on my family's vehicles. But right now I'm very fortunate. Live in a place that doesn't have, it only has a parking lot, no garage. My mother-in-law has given me space in her garage to be able to work on things. I do work on her car also, so it's awesome. Good trade. Um, but to be able to get my own garage, to be able to have a place to work, and moving into really really fun projects like, oh man, I think there's a couple of that I'd really like to get first that I think are really reachable, accessible, starting at a lower price point, and then working my way up. And that would be, I like the Audis. I think they have a lot of potential for sure. Um, the A6s, but honestly, I love the body lines of the A7. So I wouldn't mind doing a restoration, picking something up from Copart or IA auctions, picking up one or maybe two, and making one really good car out of those. Um, and then, moving on to bigger projects later on. Um, I think another great one would be, and I get that, there's Porsche purists out there, that maybe don't feel that that's a real car, but it's the Cayman. I don't know. I just like them a lot, and for a little bit more blasphemy, I'd actually like a PDK. I've had manual cars for sure in the past. We'll go through some of the vehicles I've had, or all the vehicles I had in another video. So I'm not against manuals, but I just think the PDKs are really a good bulletproof transmission, and also super quick shifts and look like kind of fun to drive. Never owned one. I think it'd be fun to do. So yeah, I welcome you to this journey. I appreciate you being here with me, and listening to my story, and hopefully my stories. And hopefully we have some fun here, in making these videos and sharing that together. And yeah, welcome, and please like and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, but it means a lot to me. Let's see where this can go. So I'm excited to be here, and thank you.